Today, we're diving into how to teach fraction addition and subtraction so that students don't just memorize steps, but actually understand the logic behind them. Let's get to it! Most students are first introduced to adding and subtracting fractions in 4th grade, beginning with like denominators, where the denominators are the same. But as many of you know, students often continue to struggle with these operations well into high school, especially when we throw variables into the mix. Ugh, spooky. The secret to fixing this problem once and for all is focusing on a few key ideas that show up again and again across all fraction topics. When we clarify these ideas early on, the operations finally start to make sense. The first key idea is using the same size whole. Just like how we teach equivalent in comparing fractions, addition and subtraction only works if the fractions refer to the same whole. The next key idea is the meaning of written fractions. We need to reinforce that the denominator tells us the size of each piece that makes up the whole, while the numerator tells us how many of those pieces we actually have. The last key idea is using the same sized pieces. To add or subtract fractions, we must be working with the pieces of the same size, which is exactly what the unit fraction represents. This isn't just a good idea, it's actually a core part of the Common Core standards. We want students to see a fraction like 3/4 as being made of 3 1/4 pieces. When you first introduce adding and subtracting fractions, start with equal-sized pieces. If you're adding 1/6 and 3/6, for example, keep reinforcing that you are simply combining groups of the same size. Visuals are your best friend here to link the picture to the operation. When we move to unlike denominators, students need to remember one golden rule. Multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number changes what the fraction looks like, but doesn't change the actual size. Let's look at a word problem example. Jeremy's friends eat 5/8 of his birthday cake, and Jeremy eats 1/8 of his birthday cake. How much of the cake was eaten in total? Since both fractions in this word problem are eighths, this is pretty easy. But still, let's start with a visual of the first key idea of using the same whole. We can use fraction bars or apps to help students see that 5/8 is literally 5 1/8. Direct their attention to the idea that having same-sized pieces makes writing the sum much easier. But what if the pieces are different sizes? Let's try another problem. Jeremy's friends ate 3/4 of his birthday cake, and Jeremy eats 1/8 of it. How much cake was eaten in total? After we set up the visual again, what do we notice? Well, we can't easily represent the total because the pieces are different sizes. But if we look closer, 2 1/8 pieces fit perfectly into one 1/4 piece. By rewriting 3/4 in eighths, multiplying by 2 over 2, Jeremy's friends still have the same amount of cake, but now the pieces are the same size as Jeremy's. After adding the fractions together, we get 7/8. Let's look at another example with subtraction. Jeremy has 3/4 of his birthday cake left. Jeremy's friends eats another 1/3 of it. How much cake does Jeremy have now? We want students to look for patterns and use their number sense rather than just memorizing a rule. With this problem, we're essentially looking for a common multiple that works well with both 4 and 3. Since 4 and 3 are relatively prime, their common multiples will be 12, 24, 36, and so on. But there's no reason to work with large numbers if we don't have to, so we'll just focus on 12. Because 12 is 3 times as large as 4, we multiply both the numerator and denominator of 3/4 by 3. This gives us an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 12. This also means that we need to multiply the numerator and denominator of 1/3 by 4 to create an equivalent fraction of 4/12. Now both fractions have the same denominator. Now that our denominators are equivalent, we can simply subtract to get 5/12. As always, if you liked the video, please give us a like and subscribe for more effective teaching strategies. Thanks for watching.